Majruki, and also I would like to thank, along with Dr. Ali Majruki, also I would like to thank Miss Luna for their constant support to arrange this workshop. The plan actually was started when some of the students from our department actually started contacting me that they want to learn art and they don't have any background. So initially I planned to have a small workshop, but then somehow this the CGS invited and they gave me opportunity that I can create a workshop at bigger level, and I can invite even more students and our colleagues from like different colleges and from different departments. Sorry. So I took this opportunity and I decided that, okay, now we can create a small session, especially for the beginner right now. So any of you, if they have expectation that we are going to learn very deep into the R through this workshop, so maybe they will feel little bit cheated, because this workshop is mainly for the beginner. Here I will just give some hands-on, like how to actually play with R. And the good part of the R is that once you start like playing with R, and if you know how to start, how to close, and how to actually do a minor thing, then actually the whole internet is available for us to learn the R. And it's very easy, very friendly tool, which I'm sure that every one of you can actually enjoy, and every one of you can learn very quickly, even without having even further workshops. It is that straightforward basically. So I'm sure that you all are aware that there are variety of tools available for statistical analysis. Like many of you have experience about SPSS, Minitab, SAS. These are some of the tool, the most common one. Many people have used, some of you are still using. Of course, there is nothing wrong on those tools. You can do all those, many of those fancy analysis in there. But when it comes to data analysis, there are some limitations with each of these tools. Limitation in terms of memory, limitation in terms of statistical analysis power, limitation in terms of different analysis you can conduct from one software. And on top of that, there is a specific problem that most of these software are paid version. And now, one of the issue is that if you have something paid version, maybe you can afford, your college can afford, and when you submit your paper, your reviewer have no chances to analyze your data because they don't have this software, they don't have the paid version. That's why scientific community decided to move on some statistical program where they can use this unpaid version for statistical analysis. And the most interestingly, they can readily share their scripts and so on with the other scientific community, so that we can have the same workflow for the data analysis, or to repeat the experiment, or to repeat the analysis, I mean. So as I mentioned, R is actually a data manipulation statistical tool where you can do a very many different type of analysis. It was launched very recently, I would say around 10 or 15 years back. When it comes, it has actually existed since long time, but it come into like with the more scientific audience like very recently. The good part with the R is that it runs. Do you see my cursor moving on this slide?
Yes, doctor, we can see.
Yeah. So the good part of the R is that it can run very well on Windows platform, or on Mac platform, or on Unix platform. And of course, with the R, we can have a high quality visualization, as well as we can generate high quality graphics along with various high end statistical analysis. So all these things we can do through one program, that is R. That's why this program is getting more popularity in these days. And in most of the scientific publication, you will find that many of them are referring that they analyze their data through the R. And in most of the high-end publication nowadays, it is kind of a mandatory requirement that you have to submit these R scripts on public server. So therefore, it is very important that we should learn R, so that either to do our own analysis, we can do it through R, and we can submit our script for the public or for the other scientific reviewer or some other scientific community. so that they can also do a reanalysis of your data the way you perform. And another good part with R is that they have a well documented system. You will find a lot of interesting information through the internet. And on top of that, most of this information is freely available. So that is the good part with R, that most of the information are very freely available. And for most of the analysis, they have different type of packages. We'll discuss about the packages at a later stage, that there are many different packages used for different analysis. For example, if someone is working in mathematics field, they have some packages related to those analysis which are used in the mathematics field. Likewise, there is a lot of packages for graphics. There is a packages for biologists. There is packages for physics researcher. So there is a packages for all variety of the analysis, which you can choose from the list available over internet and depending on your requirement. So when it comes to history, actually, as I mentioned previously, it started around 1976. But at that time, the name was not R, the name was the system, or some may have heard about the S language. So that was the traditional name for the R, which was started in 1976. But later on, a group of scientists they develop especially this R packages, especially Robert Gentleman and Ross Ihaka. They actually started developing these S languages into more advanced version. And they actually didn't like the name S, rather they give the name R. So R stand for the first letter of their own name. I mean the Robert and the Ross. So that's why they just give this name. So they just give this name, which got much more popularity in these days. Since it started, especially the R started in 1977, and there was complete comprehensive R network available, and there has been a lot of development in these R packages. So the version 1 was launched in 2000, then version 2 was launched in 2004, then version 3 was launched in 2013, and the latest version, which is R 4.0.3, is launched in June 2020. So it's like very recent version which we are going to use in this course. That's R version 4.0.3. So when I say R, so we have another tool like R Studio. So basically R Studio is a graphical interface. On the background, you are running these R different version, but R Studio, which we are going to use in this course, which was actually founded in 2008. And it is actually a nice, what, how can I say, like it's nice graphic user interface, which is very friendly, and we can easily understand this R code, and we can easily understand if there is any mistake in the R code through the R Studio. That's why nowadays most of the researchers use R Studio instead of R program. Of course, in the background we still have R running, but just in the front we have R Studio package which we are going to use. And for your help, I have provided some of the link. I can share this slide later on, and you can go through this link by yourself to learn more about this R core group, R consortium, and R studio packages. The most important word I would like to say about R, it's really magical and it's the really addictive. So once you start like working with R, once you start playing with R, you will feel that you started enjoying the R. So more you enjoy, more you develop your skill, particularly in R. So I just give my own example. During the time of my PhD, even I wasn't aware about what is R, but then I started learning myself through online resources. And later on, I was so interested that every day I was spending a lot of my time just to learn about the R. And that's the way how my life into art started. And now it is really helping me in my analysis. It is really helping me when I'm reviewing the paper and I'm reading the paper. And another good part is that within a very short time period, you can get a very many different type of skill when you learn the R. As I mentioned, many packages are under development, and whenever there is a new package is developed, you will also find a supportive literature. You will also find supportive material which will help you in understanding the packages. So that's why I would recommend all of you that you start learning the R and start you can of course look a lot onto this internet, and you can find a lot more information via internet as well. So why we should use R? That is one of the important question. So as I mentioned previously, the one important reason why we should follow the R is an open source. So learning with R is quite easy. Don't worry that maybe some of you will think that there is a coding, we have to code and so on. Once you start learning small code, you will find that it's not really coding. A lot of information are available online, and you can download their information. You can freely download the script. There is no copyright on the script. You can easily download them, and you can easily remodify as per your requirement. So that allow you easy learning about the R. And there is a 1,000+ free libraries are available to help you for the analysis, to help you with the graphics. There is a huge community which is using R, so you will find lot of support through the internet, through diverse scientific community. It's a complete statistical language. You can do most of the statistical analysis through R. So one of the problem is that, for example, if I'm using Minitab, so maybe I can do some statistical analysis, but for other statistical analysis, I might need to use some other tool. And for that, again, I have to pay. So when I use R, then it's quite easy because R can handle most of the complicated statistical analysis in very simple way. Again, R has very excellent graphical output, and not only excellent graphical output, but R also allow you to develop graphics as per your requirement, which means you can easily modify the graphics. You can easily change the size, shape, and the visualization of the graphics as per the requirement. It is compatible with all different sort of programs. And actually you can also connect R with many other languages. Maybe some of you are good in languages, or if you are from IT, maybe you wanted to connect your R with Java, you wanted to connect your R with C++ or Python. It's quite easy, and easily you can link with the different languages through the R. So as soon as you open the R, this is how it looks like. So you will get the two windows. It says R GUI, graphic user interface. So in this graphic user interface, you will find two windows. The one window is R console, and this is the place where scripts will be executed, like script can be executed. And then you have one R editor, and R editor is the place where you will be writing your script, and then you can execute, and then executed script you can see through the R console. Oh, I have this written down here. So you normally write your text, you normally write your script onto this R script editor, and then output you can visualize through the R console. But as I mentioned, we are not going to use this R, rather we are going to use RStudio. I'm going to tell you more about RStudio in coming slide. But this is just in case if someone would like to start with R. So this is the way how R works. So how we can interact with R? Of course, one complicated part of R is that it's a command-based interface. Of course, you have a graphic user interface, but you have to write some command and you have to execute the command. But as I mentioned, it's not really complicated. It's very straightforward, and a lot of documentation support is available to help you with each and every function of the R. So normally in R console, the place where you see how a script is been running, you always see a symbol that is greater than symbol. And this, we call it as prompt. So, and this is the place where your script will be executed. You can interact with R through different way. You can directly type your commands into the R console, and you can directly execute it there. Or you can also upload your script, or you can also copy paste your script to the console and you can execute. Moreover, you can also upload your script in the R and you can execute your R script there. We'll discuss more about this interaction through the R during our hands-on session after this presentation. Anyone, if you have any question, of course, if you have some question, you can of course post via chat box. And if you have a very particular question you want to discuss with me now, feel free to turn on your microphone and ask me the question. Because this workshop is more hands-on, we have to do this interaction throughout this these sessions. So as I said, R is quite handy. You can use it as like your calculator. For example, if I need to sum, or if I need to calculate mean of 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6. So the very simple syntax is that X is the object here, and I am directing this greater than and dash sign means I'm directing this variable, that is C, which means a group of numbers. And then in the bracket, we are writing 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6. And this variable or this number will enter into this variable called X. And now you can say mean, and in the small bracket, you can just write X, and then it will give you answer. You can also ask, okay, sum, then it will give you answer. You can also ask a standard deviation, X, it will give you answer. So it's very simple. Like it's just like once you have an object ready, and you can use this object for any of the analysis later on. And throughout the R, how you can work, you start writing your script. And this is particularly applicable for RStudio, not for really for R. Because as I mentioned, RStudio is more user-friendly and more handy compared to R. So you can start writing a command. You write maybe 2-3 letter of that command, and you can enter tab, and sometime it will give you auto suggestion. So your command will be auto-filled by itself. So this is one of the useful tips when you're writing your script. And of course, throughout this R scripting, you can use this arrow key up and down and so on. And whenever you stuck somewhere, you can always use this escape key. So if you stuck somewhere, you can use escape so that you can get out of the R. For example, if you just write mean, and then you just write one bracket and you enter, then you hit the enter button, right? So right now the command is not full. So you will receive an error message, okay? But when you are going to use RStudio, at that time, it will prompt that, okay, something is missing after this plus. And then you will realize, oh, I'm missing one variable here. Then you just write a variable here, which means now mean the start of small bracket X and end of the small bracket. And now you hit return. Again, you will get your answer. So this is one of the part which is beneficial from the RStudio, that it actually guides you sometime. If you have any error in your script, it guides you where the error is. And it also gives you some color code. We'll see that later on today, that in the RStudio, you can see that there is a color coding. And based on this color coding, we can identify where is the error and so on. So as I mentioned, R really increase the replicability of your results. For example, you follow one script, and when you submit your paper, you also submit your script on public archiving, right? Or if a reviewer or if editor require, you can also share with them. And if they wanted to reproduce your results, they can perform the same analysis on the same data, and they want to repeat your analysis to check how you got your results, whether they are also getting the same results or not. So that is one of the interesting part with R, that if you save your script, you can easily share this script with anyone, and then they can also reproduce your analysis as well. And once you have a script, you can easily fix the error, and if there is any mistake, you can easily locate those mistakes and you can fix it. So we should always start developing the script whenever you have some scripts ready. make sure that you are keep saving your scripts. Otherwise, if you don't save it, you will lose all of your script and all of your program which you are developing for your analysis. You can write or edit your scripts through a variety of different way. Like there is an built-in editor which we are going to use, and there is an external editor available, especially in the Mac, which we can also, for example, the terminal. And actually, if some of you are aware about the GitHub, then you know that nowadays most of the R script, most of the bioinformatic program and most of this language-based program, they are always installed via GitHub, right? And you can actually make a clone of GitHub through your R, which means you can reuse the same script which is deposited in the GitHub in your R. So that is one of the user-friendly method which we can use through RStudio. If you want to know more about the GitHub and integrated development environment, you can follow the link and you can read more about those tools, that how you can use in your analysis.
Excuse me, doctor. Let
Yeah.
me interrupt you for a while.
Yes.
Yes, doctor, is it okay? Like a student has asked a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, if we want to continue the same command from the previous line, I'm not getting what he's asking.
Yes, if we want.
It was
Yeah,
the
he can.
previous. Yeah, sorry.
No,
It's
it was
fine. You can ask. Yeah.
yeah, actually that time what I mentioned, for example, you write mean and the first bracket, first part of the bracket, and you forgot to write the complete command and you hit the return, right? Then prompt will show that you have an error and it will show a plus sign, which means it is indicating that your command is not full yet, your command is not complete yet, which means you have to look carefully to complete your command. Then by looking at this plus sign, now you realize that, okay, you didn't put the variable name, that is X. So you write X and you complete the small bracket, and now you hit your return. Now you hit the return button, and then you see that the function is executed.
I
So
see.
that is what I mentioned, I believe.
I see. I see. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Anyway, about, I know that these are simple things we are going to run through the hands-on experience. Then you will have much more clearer idea like how this work in the scripts. So again, if you have a script, there is a two-way that you can start the script through the R. You can directly right-click on the script and you can say open with RStudio, both in Windows and Mac operating system. Or you can first open the RStudio and then you can locate that script, and then you can just click OK, open the script, and the script will open in your RStudio environment. Likewise, in case you want to make a new script, go to the menu file and there is option called new script, and you can develop a new script by yourself. Now the question is how to execute the command. Now here there is some differences. For example, many of you are using a Mac laptop. So for them, once, for example, I write the mean small bracket X and complete the small bracket, right? Once I write this option, then if I have a Mac operating system, then I have to hit command plus enter together. Okay, so command plus enter together, then function will execute. Likewise, those of you who are using Windows laptop or Windows desktop, they have to just follow control plus R. Again, press the control and then press the R together, and then you can execute your function. Is this clear for everyone? Okay, so maybe we'll see
Yes.
more later on. Then hopefully it will be clear for everyone. And of course, sometime if you need to run a long script together, you can select all those lines and then you can directly, for example, if I need to execute these 5 lines all together, like right from on window until the extension. So I can select all these lines and then I can just hit command and return. And then all the script can be executed in one go. But Another time, I just want to execute one line at a time. So I will just put my cursor next to on Windows, and then I will put command plus return, and then one line will execute. Then again, I need to execute the second line. Then I will put my cursor or to the next line, that is Mac OS on Mac OS, and then again I will put command plus enter, and the script will, oh sorry, function will execute. And you can always save your scripts, and the extension for R script is always .r or .R. So whenever you see a file where the extension is .r or .R, which means those file belong to the R. You can easily open those file in your notepad or in your word editor, especially in the Mac laptop, or you can directly open it through the R itself. This is an important slide which we should understand. So in the R, everything we are storing is in the object. Unfortunately, I couldn't write anything here, otherwise I could easily explain you. But for example, I write X, then this equal sign, and then I mention mean, and then I mention, for example, again, I mention a variable name A, then I mention equal sign, and then I mention mean, and in the bracket I mention X, that is a variable. So now I have an object A where data will be stored. So all the data which we are storing in R is actually stored in the form of objects. And when we have some graphics, they are not really stored in the objects, but they can be really written out directly on your laptop. So whenever you are feeding your data to R, it is very important to know how your data is, because R doesn't understand which data you are uploading, right? So you have to be very clear. For example, if your data is character, which means, for example, my data is just my name, it is a character. If my data is numeric, for example, I just feed a data in the R where I just mention the age of all the participants from this class. So this is actually a numerical variable, because this age object represent a numerical variable, which means age of different participants. Likewise, if your data is in a factor, which means I have another category in my data where I included a variable called sex, which means half of the participant I will mention they are female or they are male. So this type of variable where you have some specific category are called as factor. Okay, so when you have a numerical variable, we call them as a vector or numerical variable. When you have a categorical variable, then you call them as a factor. And this is like we have to be very clear about our data first of all before uploading onto the R, that whether our data is numerical, character, or factor, because this is going to affect your analysis. This is going to affect your visualization as well. And likewise, we also should be aware about the classes, that whether when the data which you are uploading to the R, is it matrix, is it array, is it data frame, or what it is. So we have to be very clear about our data sets. So many times, mostly we either upload the matrix, which means the first column represent, for example, age as like a number, second column represents sex as like male and female, and so on. So this is a matrix. Or data frame, when we have two-dimensional data together, we can also upload directly as a data frame. So when you need to quit the R, you can easily write down quit. After the prompt time in, you can easily write down quit and a small bracket, and then hit the enter, and then you can exit from the R. Likewise, you can simply write a small q and small bracket, and then you can exit the R. Now something will pop up. As soon as you will say quit, something will pop up that will ask you whether you want to save your workspace image. So what this workspace image is, it's not an R script. It is asking for workspace image. Basically, when we have long scripts ready, we can always save as a workspace image. That means When I will restart this workspace image, then all the objects, all the variable will be included by default in my system. So that's why workspace image is very useful when you have complete script ready and when you want to execute some data and you want to build up on your script further. But if we are new, we should not save workspace image, because if you have workspace image saved and if you are restarting your laptop, is restarting your R, again this image will come, then all the variables will be there. And when you want to define a new variable, it will create some overlapping issue. So make sure that you don't save your workspace image unless it is required. And of course, when it asks for saving the R script, so definitely everyone should save the R script. Once you save the R script, you can restart your R script at any time point. So as I mentioned in the course, we are going to use R Studio. Again, it is very compatible with Windows, Mac, or Linux, whatever laptop or whatever system you are using. You can easily use this program. And of course, R Studio is also open source, so it's free for academic purposes. So we can readily use R Studio. Those of you who may not like RStudio, of course you can use R, it's no problem. But if you like RStudio, you can continue using the RStudio. So here is how RStudio look like. As soon as you will start RStudio, you will have 4 different sections. The one section where we can have our script, which is called as code editor. So this is the place where we are going to put our script, or where we are going to run our script. Then we have our console on the bottom left side. So the console is the place where you can see the output from your script. For example, here it's written view, then in the small bracket it's diamond. Once you will hit this, then you can see what this represent in the console. Okay, so always script will open in the code editor and the output you can see in the console. Then on the top right side, you have a third panel that is called as workspace and history. So for example, if I'm uploading 5 tables, so these tables you can easily visualize through this workspace and history. So all the object, all the table, all the data matrices, you can easily locate in your workspace. For example, here is says data and diamond contain 3,940 observation and 10 variable. Then on the bottom panel shows you plots and files. So all the graphics which you are generating, you can visualize through this bottom right panel, that is for plots and file. But this fourth panel is also very interesting for us, because there is something called as help. Okay, so anything when you end up in like for example, I don't understand what this summary mean here, so I will just write summary, and next to the summary I will just click F6, that means help. So once you write summary and click F6, then you will this help window will open and you can see more help about this particular function. Likewise, there is another option called packages. So maybe you need to install one package called Vegan. Either you can directly go on packages and you can directly write down by yourself and you can install the packages. Or otherwise, we have a code. We will discuss the code later on. But this R object is quite handy. You can actually, as I mentioned, this is really a graphic user interface. So you can do everything by yourself. For example, if I want to export this plot, I can just click here as export and you can save it on your desktop or on your computer, wherever you want. So that's why RStudio is highly recommended, because it's really user friendly. Again, these are some of the shortcuts. Of course, with the time you can learn these shortcuts by yourself, and you can look here, and there are a lot more other shortcuts available. If you will try to Google, you will find a lot of the shortcuts available. And one thing is that we always have to set our working directory. By default, the working directory is the place where you store your R script, right? So for example, my R script is on my desktop. I will just right click and I will say open R script with the R Studio. Then the desktop will become my working directory. You can change this working directory like in the menu option, there is option called change directory, and you can change this working directory by yourself just by click and so on. Alternatively, you can use this function called set wd, which means set working directory. So whenever you want to save a particular directory, you can always use this code called set working directory. And when you need to see in which directory you are, you can always use this option called get working directory, GETWD, and small bracket. So when you will write this one, then you can see in which directory you are. So whenever you are doing R scripting, we should always be aware that in which directory we are working. And one important thing, this hashtag is actually our friend throughout this R, because everything written after the hashtag is not really part of the command. It's basically the text which is going to help us to understand what does this mean. For example, set working directory, and I just write hashtag. Okay, this is the command to set the working directory, and then get working directory, and then I put hash the get the current working directory. So anything you will write after the hashtag will not be part of your command, but it could be like your notes. So you can read this note whenever you want. In the R, as I mentioned, there are many different type of packages available depending on your type of project, depending on your field. There is a many different type of available packages. For example, as on January 30, I just calculated, just I write like n row available dot packages and small bracket, and I completed the bracket, and then I found that 17,028 different packages are being developed in R till date. So you can see that there is a variety of different packages available. And the good part is that all these 17,000 packages are freely available for the users. So you just check which package you want to work on, you install that package, and then you can use it by following their user manual. So as I mentioned, the life at the R is really growing. So for example, from 2001, if you look into this chart, there was very few packages, but now it's exponentially growing. And in 2020, you can see that now they are rapidly growing, and a lot of new packages are being developed. And almost every day, actually, I see a new packages related to my own analysis, even though. So you can imagine how diverse scientific field is. I'm just looking onto those packages which are useful for me. But if I look in context of the scientific community, you can imagine how many new packages are being developed every day for the R. This is just a list. Again, this is not a complete list. It's just a fraction of the list. So you can see that, for example, if you want to work with data import, there is a package called RVest, Feather, Rio, and so on. If you want to do data visualization, I think the packages for data visualization are mostly common among all the different fields. And maybe you have heard about some packages called ggplot or ggplot2, R color brewer, shiny, plotly. These all are different R packages, and you have to choose which package you would like to work with. And likewise, if you want to do some data mapping, you can also do use for example package like geofacet, SF, leaflet, ggmap, and so on. So depending on the type of work, hundreds of packages are available. We should always keep ourselves updated that which package can work in our data. And to help you, there are a lot of books available on internet. And fortunately, these books actually I just checked, they are freely available via Springer. So I suggest you just read the title and try to download the book. And this book are really going to help you if you want to work more with R, particularly this book on Top Center, The Beginner's Guide to the R. It's really handy book and quite easy to understand. written by the famous biostatistician, Professor Zur. I have been reading this book previously, and it's really handy, and we can really understand the concept very well through this book. But all other books are also very useful. And right now, all these books are freely available through Springer because of the pandemics. So they release all these books as a freeware. So go and use this book and download them. As I mentioned in this course, we are just discussing how to play with R. I'm not going to discuss more about what kind of tool you can use for different type of analysis, what kind of package you can use for different type of analysis. But only one word I would like to say, I mean, definitely everyone is working with some level of correlation. Doesn't matter whichever field you are working on, physics, biology, chemistry, mathematics, but everyone work with correlation. And whenever you see a perfect correlation, never think that it can be a causation, because correlations are just a relation between two numerical variable. It doesn't mean that it's the real cause of the variation. So whenever you see some such kind of correlation, don't discuss in terms of causation, rather discuss that they are numerical correlation, can be an indication of the reason for that relationship, but it cannot be a causation. For example, yesterday I was unmarried, today I'm married. So for example, if I will plot this data with like for example, on the one side I have a dates like yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and one side I have numbers. So it will be a perfect correlation, because with the day there is an increase, but you know that this relation doesn't make any sense, right? So never imagine that correlation can be a causation. If you really want to establish this relationship, you have to run several different tests. So this is just a word you should always remember. But in this course, we are not going to discuss more about what kind of tests are available in R, what kind of program we can use. For that, hopefully we'll arrange some other workshop. And to help you, there are a lot of these operators. So whenever you have this presentation, go through this chart by yourself, and you can look for this operator and their functions. I can share you this script later on. Okay, so any question?
Yes, doctor. I think Ali and Laia, they have asked questions in the chat, so I think they can open the mic and ask now if you want.
Yes, they can ask me question now.
I was just going to ask, Doctor, the packages that you were talking about earlier, they are like statistical tests, or just a way to display our, or are they also a way to display our data? Like the map visualization will be something to display our data, but what about the other packages? They are like statistical tests?
I mean, as I mentioned, these packages are for many different purposes. Okay, for example, some packages will help you in the analysis, some package will help you in the plotting, some package will help you in just managing your data. Right now everyone is working with the gigabase of the data together, and you know that these file you cannot open on your Excel. So you need some tools who can manage your data, and some of these packages are mainly for the data management, and some packages are just mainly to sort out your data, because when you do a data collection, you collect thousands of different variables, and you need these kind of different packages. So it's not like one package can do all the functions for you. One time we have to use maybe 5, 10, or different packages depending on our own requirement. Since in this class we have a student from different background, I mean biology, chemistry, maths, physics. So I can give some example from the biological part, because that is the package I'm more aware about. But for other field, of course, unfortunately, I'm not aware about many of the packages. But one package like Vegan, it's mainly for ecological analysis and for statistical analysis. But when I need to do plotting, I might want to use ggplot. When I need to do data settings and data corrections, I might want to use this tidyverse, that is actually for managing my data within the R. I hope you got the answer, Ali.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, any other question?
Yes, sir. My name is Laya. I was asking through the chat if there is any statistical analysis where we can actually find causation, not only correlation.
Yes, that's the wonderful question, actually. I mean, first of all, the simple relation is always like giving you a causations. So the best answer is that, of course, when we really have a proper experiment conducted in the lab, then will guide you that your correlation are not really correlation, rather they are really causations. So of course, first of all, we should always have that kind of test in the lab. Second thing, there are some complex analysis. For example, we do some kind of structure equation modeling. We do some kind of multivariate modeling. And these kind of tool can definitely help you in finding the answer as you ask for the causations. Again, they will not give you a clear indication that it is the reason for the causation, but still they are much better in handling your analysis compared to a simple correlation, which is just, for example, Pearson correlation, right? So you can go for like a GLM, GLMM, and many other multivariate or structure equation modeling. Again, my knowledge is limited towards the biological sense, and maybe in other field they may find some other packages or other tools as well, which can give you some indication of causations. Again, it's not 100% indication that it's actually causation, because these are just number, right? You feed one number and you compare it with another number, you will definitely get some relationship. But then to make the sense of this relationship, either we have to have a proper test, either we have to have proper experiment in the lab to prove this relationship.
I see. That's perfect. That's actually the answer that I was looking for. Thank you very much.
Very good. Any other question? Okay, I mean, I'm still here. We'll do more questions throughout the session. I think I already took like 10 minutes more than my plan. So I think right away we should start the scripting. So two-way we can do. Those who are comfortable, they can directly start the script one. Just right click on the script one or open it with RStudio. Okay, I'm sharing my RStudio right away with all of you. Just a moment. My RStudio. Can you see RStudio window on your on this Zoom account? I know that this workshop like could be
Yes.
much better if we are having like face-to-face workshop. I can easily walk to you and easily can guide you. But now we are virtual, and I will try to help you as much as possible. I have given most of the instruction in the script itself, and you can just read and you can follow the instruction. And whenever you're stuck, of course, I'm here to help you. And if you have any question, again, I'm here to answer the question. So, are you following now? Or those who still don't have a script or they are not able to open the script, they can open this shared Word file. I shared the link in the last email today. Can I get some response from someone?
Yes, we received everything, Victor, and the file you sent us, it's opening in RStudio as the screen.
Okay, very good. So those who are not able to open the the R script, they can simply open the RStudio, and simultaneously they can open this shared Word document. So what I suggest you start reading. Everything which is written in this greenish color is actually you can say it's just a text to help you, right? And the real code will always have either black and blue color. So how many of you are able to follow me? Anyone who is not here in the RStudio right now can just raise the hand. Anyone who is not in the RStudio can raise their hand. Okay, so there is no hand. That means everyone is in RStudio. Okay, so what I will suggest, you start reading. Simultaneously, you can start executing. So I just executed one command called version. So here, if I click on this command, and I can see that it's R version 4.0.3. And of course, this syntax we have to remember, right? Like this is the code for this particular function. Like we have to write VERSION, and then it will work. Can I get some communication?
We have to write in the console the version, so the version will show for
You
us,
can
right?
copy paste. Are you opening your script directly in R, or how you're doing, Ali? Who is there?
It's directly in R Studio.
It's already written down there, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now, do you have Windows or Mac?
I have Windows.
Windows. So you can simply put Control plus R. Okay, Control R. Don't add plus. I mean Control and R together. Did you manage?
Yes, but it's not.
Or otherwise, there is option called Run. Can you see this Run button?
Yes.
So you can also click on Run as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is also handy. You can always click on Run. So now we are moving into this next function. So here what we are saying that, okay, C4236. So we are saying that make a variable with following number, that is 4636. Okay, so this is the detail which you want to add into one variable named X. Hit it. And now hit the next. So what you see, should I ask the name? Otherwise it seems like I'm not getting response. Amal, can you follow me?
Yes, doctor, I am following.
Okay, so
doctor, can you explain one more time?
Who is there? Just give me your name, because otherwise it's hard.
It's Helena.
It's okay. So where you stuck?
The previous command that you just explained, sir. Can you please repeat it?
So it's basically what we are doing. This one X, right?
Yes.
So what we are doing, we are just saying in the R that make a variable with following number 4236 and bring this detail into an object named X. And now in the next line, we are just saying that take out the mean of X, which means mean of 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6. So you are getting mean, that is 3.5.
Okay.
Okay. Now, now you can continue. Those of you who have a little better hold, they can continue with the script. And if you stuck somewhere, and if you want to know more about any particular function, you can ask me. Hala, are you able to follow me?
Kind of. I'm new to the R program, so I'm trying.
Okay. Teman?
Yes, doctor. I reached till box plot.
Sorry?
I'm following you, and I now reached till box plot, the next command after print.
Okay, very good. So read, I mean, most of the instructions are given in for each of the function, but whenever you stuck, you can ask me the question. And those of you who are working or copying through this shared Google document, Don't delete anything and don't edit anything. Just copy and paste in your R script. Otherwise, it might give error to other users. Like, for example, I'm just giving one example. I need to execute all these functions together. So I just selected all these lines and then I just hit run. So you can see that I generated a box plot and all the commands were executed simultaneously. So for example, if some of you, when you have a big data sets, so what you are going to do, you are going to make this kind of script, which are automated running, and you are going to put on your server. It could be Linux based server, or it could be any other server, and you upload your script, you execute, it will run automatically and it will do analysis. You have to just give your input file and it will do all the analysis for you. And at the end, it will give you output.
So, Doctor, you're saying if we have a big data set, it will not be through this. We have to write a script with the data set, and then we can upload it to this.
No, what I mean,
That's what you mean?
when I say big database, you know, sometimes people have a matrix of thousands of row and thousands of column. You know, in that kind of database, what we do, we just make a script and then we use that script like we make in our desktop, and then we upload this script on some big clusters. For that we can discuss later on, but you know what I'm saying, if you have a big data set, you can also do the analysis through your clusters.
I see.
Doctor, I have a question about this box plot. Can you please explain it?
So what you are saying in this command, that make a box plot, and for whom? Box plot for variable X. So you are just saying in this command that you are making a box plot. For example, you can also write bar plot X. Yeah, I got bar plot now.
Okay.
So basically, it's the type of command you just are writing. Here you are just indicating that I would like to have bar plot for the variable X. Okay, and one more thing, it's very important for everyone. If you stuck, you click here and you can press F6. So with F6, you can get any kind of help.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes, Nahid.
Is there a way to know all the available options, like for the plots, the different kind of plots? Like, is there a limitation, like for specific types? How can we know that?
Again, this we have to be aware about that what kind of plots you want, right? And once you know, okay, you want a bar plot, you want a chart, you want a dot plot, or whatever kind of bubble plot or Venn diagram, then accordingly you have to choose the function.
Okay.
Because R will not understand by itself. We have to give him instruction that, okay, this is what I want. And for each of the different type of plot, there's a different command, and we need to you know, search those particular command and we can use that one. Anyway, we have one full session about the plotting, and then you will learn more about the plotting. Maybe second session, we have a lot of plottings as well.
Sir, one basic question. How can you import this script into the RStudio?
Where are you stuck now?
Yes, sir. I tried to import through file import, but it's not coming anything on the RStudio.
Not import. You have to open file.
I opened through Google Share, but you know, can we import into RStudio, or we can only work through Google Share file?
Not Google Share. I shared an email today, right?
Yeah. It's okay. It's there.
So
I'm there already. I opened the draft.
You download those script on your desktop.
Okay. Yes.
Right click on the script 1.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Right click on the script 1 and open with RStudio.
Okay, fine, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm moving further. Hope you are still able to follow me. Those who are not able to follow me, they can ask me question. So now what I'm doing, I'm just actually doing some nesting of the command. So I'm mixing 2-3 different commands together. At some stage, you also have to do what I'm saying, take out mean of X and put it in another variable called mx. So the command will become mean X less than and dash sign and another variable mx. And this I did. And now what I'm seeing that the mean of X is in another variable called mx. Now further, I want to take square root of mx. So I just click on square root mx, and then I can see that square root of mx, that is 3.75, is 1.936492. And I can do all these function in one command in this way, like the same answer. I just mentioned square root, small bracket, mean, another bracket, x, close the bracket, and hit return. And then you will get the answer. So you can actually merge these 3 commands in one command. Everyone is getting me?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
It's clear.
Okay, very good. So then we are moving to another important command that is called as ls. For example, ls, I just write lx, it will list all your object. So for example, right now we only created 2 objects, so mx and x. And this command will be very handy when you have a lot of object in your data. Then you always want to check what are the objects in your current work environment. Then you can just press ls and you can see all your object. Then this is another handy command called rm, that is remove object, rm. And now I'm saying that remove my object name x and mx. And now if you will write x, you will not see anything because you are getting an error, object x not found, because I already removed that object, rm x comma mx. And now if you say ls, and you see that there is no suggestion, there is no variable or something. That's why it says character 0. Then as I mentioned, the option is quit. And now when you click on the quit, it is asking you for 2 options. Do you want to save these changes? So if it is a script, yes. So it is R. So yes, we want to save, but I'm not quitting at the moment, right? So this is one way, and you can always write quit save _ no, or you can directly click on this cross sign, like as we do in the Windows program. So you can directly click here. It will ask you the same question whether you want to save it or not.
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes, Meta.
Doctor, there's a like request from a student that she couldn't follow, and she's still in typing version, and she didn't understood what to do next.
Can she turn on her microphone? It's easier.
Yeah, Betty. Yes.
I mean, anyone who have any issue, they can directly turn on their microphone and ask me question. Because without communicating with the student, I cannot help remotely.
Yes, Betty, you can open your mic and yeah.
So where you stuck, Betty? Hello.
I think she has opened the mic, but we can't hear doctor because I can see her mic is on, but I can't hear her.
Maybe she has to. Can you make unmute to her, because you have this right to unmute participant.
No, doctor. Already her mic is on. I can see it is on. I think she's having some.
Okay, then I don't think if she can't communicate, then it's difficult. I couldn't work on this. I'm still in the typing version, didn't understood what to do next. Betty, what I said, you downloaded the scripts. right, on your laptop or desktop. Right click on the script number 1 and open it with your RStudio, and then your script will be working in the RStudio. Are you there now? Okay, I don't get any response from her. So now can you see, Betty, can you see the scripts within the RStudio? So do you see these kind of scripts in your RStudio? Or if you don't, if you are unable to open the script by yourself, then I gave you alternative option that you can open the shared Word document and you can copy the script from this Word document as well. That was another option I gave. And you can copy this script from the Word document and you can paste it in this R script or this R editor. Did you get, Betty? Without a microphone, it's hard for me to communicate with someone. Hopefully her microphone issue should get resolved soon. Okay, now it seems like she's able to follow me.
Doctor?
Yes,
I have one question. I'm Dino Thomas.
Yeah.
When I try to run the script, it's showing object X is not found. So, but we have defined already the X values. So I don't know why.
Where are you now? Where are you now?
It's at X, mean of X. But when I click it, object X is not found.
So here, can you see my screen?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So have you run this command?
Yeah, I just ran after mean X. I put the cursor after mean X and then I ran it, but it's showing error. Object X is not found.
Again, I don't know what could be the error at the moment since I'm remote here, but
okay, fine.
You simply have to execute your command first. Do you have Windows or Mac?
It's Windows.
Windows. So click on X, the first line, click on C.
Okay. Yes.
Press Control.
Okay.
And R.
Okay.
What did you see now?
It's not running at all.
It's not running.
Yeah.
How come?
But there is run option.
Yeah, you can run option. Yes, that's better. You can run option. Yes.
Yeah. Now it came X equal to. Okay, it came. Okay, fine.
Okay, so it's basically execution of the command is kind of, so you can easily use this run option.
Okay, fine. So, doctor, is it like we have to write the script as a whole and then we have to run one sentence by one sentence?
That was the idea. That was the idea. You can just copy all the script, or if you can, I already shared the script with all of you. You can directly open your script with the RStudio and you can read the text and run the command one by one. And if you stop somewhere and if you don't understand something, you can ask me the question.
But one more question. If we write the whole script and if we keep the cursor at the end and then if we press run, will it execute?
Not cursor, you have to select like this.
Okay.
If I want to execute all these things together, then I have to select everything.
Okay, fine. I got it.
Everything written after the hashtag is not really command.
Okay, fine. It's just
because this is just a help text, right? So it's not really command. Command is only when I don't have a hashtag.
Yes, I understand. Okay. Fine.
Okay,
I got it, doctor. Thank you so much.
Okay, it seems Betty looks doing fine now. Hopefully her microphone issue is not there. Then I could give more help actually, but without speaking with
doctor, I have a question.
Who is there? Yes, Tanu.
I just need to ask that in this command of box plot and bar plot, we can only have one of the two, not both. Like we cannot select both and then run.
You want to run both of the command?
Yes. Like, is it possible to get both?
Okay. You mean to say you want to see both the plot on the same panel?
Yes.
Sorry, both the panel on the same plot, right?
Is that possible?
Yes, there are many options. Again, at this moment, I don't want to go onto that
Okay,
level.
okay. I just wanted to ask if it is
In
possible.
one panel, you can, in one figure, you can make 100 panel even though.
Okay.
Okay, there is option when you will be here, we can discuss more about that at some time point, but because otherwise it will affect the other participant at the moment.
Okay, okay.
But there is possibility for sure.
Okay, thank you.
So you can make, for example, in the one panel bar plot, in another panel a box plot, in the third panel correlation table, or whatever you want. So
hello, doctor. This is me, Priya. Doctor, is there any option for saving this plot which we are created?
yes, of course. Like you see the export.
Okay.
So in the export, there's option called save as image, save as PDF, and so on. You can save it directly on your desktop.
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
Yes.
I finished reading the script. I think it's very clear.
Okay, so those of you who finished the script number 1, I would suggest them, okay, close the R and restart with script number 2. Or if you are comfortable within the same program, you can start the script number 2. Okay. I shared you 2 scripts because my plan was to execute 3 scripts, but I will see if I will manage that. But at least work with the script number 2 now.
Okay.
I'm also opening script number 2 on my system. So those who may have any question related to script number 2, they can ask me as well. Who else finished the script number 1? Just quickly say yes, that's fine.
Yes, me, doctor.
Okay.
I have finished it as well. Thank you.
Me also, doctor.
Okay, that means
Me
it's
also.
working fine. Okay, perfect. So it seems
I
it's
have
working.
also finished on this.
Yes, who is having question?
I'm moving to 2 right now.
I know this is not the ideal situation that we are having this workshop virtually. I would have done much better job if it is like really face to face, because then I can quickly, come to you and discuss the question, and I can answer the question quite easily. But now we just have to run this this workshop virtually, because that is the only possibility we have. Okay, I see quite silence throughout. Anyone who is having any issue or problems? Shema? There is 2 Shema. Shema?
Yes, doctor.
Is
Yes,
it
doctor.
fine?
I'm fine.
Fine, everything is going good?
Yes.
Very good. Ala?
Yes, I moved to script number 2. It's lagging a bit, but yeah, it's fine. I can do it.
Okay, so if you stuck, let me know. As I mentioned, in these kind of workshop, it's always nicer if 2 of you are working together, if that is possibility, of course. For example, if 2 people sitting in one lab or in one department, they can work together. Of course, you work on independently on your own laptop, but you can actually sit close to each other so that you can also discuss if there is any issue. Because remotely, I'm little helpless at some places.
Doctor, I noticed that Control Enter works actually, but Control R doesn't work for me on Windows.
Okay, so Control Enter, use that, because unfortunately I totally forgot how does it work with Windows. Maybe so just use Control Enter. So now I know that. Okay, Control Enter or Command Enter. Okay, now I remember. So those who are not speaking at all, Noor. Noor, are you fine?
Yes, sir, I'm fine.
Are you in the script number 2 now?
Yes, I'm doing script number 2, but my laptop is lagging a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, sometime it's nicer to have your laptop clean with all the cache memory, because most of the function in R run in your cache memory. So whenever you want to run a big job on R, make sure that you always restart your laptop, so all the cache memory and everything is clean. This is one recommendation when you have big job to run on R.
All right, I guess I'll try to do that now.
Okay, very good.
Doctor, when we write the command C and then brackets, we put numbers. Is this like a list of numbers, or is it just a mean?
No, for example, in this case, right, the one I'm showing here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So basically, it's a way to indicate that in X, we want to, because this is a variable, right? So for example, you have an age. Okay, so we are adding age of Dino, age of Hala, age of Fatima, age of myself, age of Metha, and everyone. So you have 10 variable or 10, you can say data point.
I see.
You are saying that add C means make a variable with these 10 data point. So the 10 data point could be like 2 year, 5 year, 4 year, 10 year, and so on. And each data point is separated by comma. If I will remove this comma, you see, and I just give a space, you see that I got an error message now. So I have to put this comma, and here it is indicating that there is error. So I have to look for what is this error about. And then I just put arrow, I put comma. Yes, now it's working fine. So basically, this is the way how we create a variable. Of course, not all the time you have to create the variable. This is just to give you a small training. But in the next class, hopefully, I will be sharing you the data, and you can directly import the data from your Excel file.
I see.
Because
I think
you
it
know
will
that.
make more sense. Yeah, it will make more sense like that. Yes.
Yeah, it's just the basics right now.
I see.
In the next class, I'm going to share with you a lot of data sets, and you are going to upload those data sets directly on the R. And I think everyone have their own data nowadays in the Excel or in the text file and so on.
All right, doctor. Thank you.
So,
I have a question, doctor.
Yes.
Can you please execute line 83?
The script number 2?
Yeah, line 83.
Line 83.
Yeah.
But for that, I have to run this command.
Okay.
Yes, I got it.
Like how is it false, true, and how it changes with these signs? Can you please explain?
Oh yeah. For example, here what I'm asking, X is greater than 3. So it's my question to R. X is greater than 3. X means the variable within the X, or the data point within the X variable, sorry. The data point within the X variable are greater than 3 or not. Then it is asking, first of all, comparing 2 with 3. Then answer is false.
False.
Then it is comparing 4 with 3, and then answer is true, and so on.
True. Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
And this even I forgot what does it mean. Sorry, I have to look for. So you may not ask me the question about this. So basically here we are just using different mathematical operator for different purposes. And now we are creating a logical question in the next round. In the line number 92, we are asking if X is greater than 3 and X is less than 6. So if you hit this one, then you see the answer again, who is within this range or not. Everyone, Subha, are you able to follow me?
Yes, doctor.
So you are also in the script number 2 now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, very good.
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes, Ala.
Can you explain line 26 in script 2?
26.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically here we are just saying that add this character called hello world into one variable named x. You will use this kind of text later on because sometimes you have to add text onto particular variable. And then simultaneously we are saying that, okay, print this one. So it is just printing the variable which you put into the text. I can put my name here. My name is Sunil. Then I execute and I see that whatever I've written down there, I can see that it is executed. So the idea of this is to show you that it's not only the number, you can also add some text in the variable. You got my point?
Yes, thank you, doctor.
Okay, then Ala, what is the question? Ala?
I didn't ask a question.
Your hand is raised, that's why. Okay. Teman, the question?
I just asked. Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, okay, no
It's
problem.
okay. Thank you.
So how many of you are close to finishing the script number 2? Of course, it's not only finishing, you should understand the question behind how we are doing and why we are doing. So read the text. Still, if you don't understand, you can ask me. Because script you can finish in like, I can select the whole script like this, and it will finish like in fraction of second. For example, I'm selecting all the script right now, and I am just putting again like this run command, and all the script is running now and it's finished already. So a script can finish in like 5 seconds, but we should understand why we are doing that particular command. Because in the next session we're gonna to have some little complicated script. So it's better that we should understand why we are doing in this way.
Doctor, can you please run 118, 118, line number 118? Just only the mean. 118.
Yeah.
We are getting something as function, use method, bytecode.
Yeah, because this function is not complete. As I mentioned, that you
Okay.
just write mean, okay? And the idea is that when you write mean, don't make this kind of object, because mean is a function. So avoid those kind of name. For example, don't use the name. For example, I will put some name called true or false, because they are also used for the functions within the R. So there are certain keywords which we should always avoid to create an object. Like here I created an object called mean, right?
Okay.
Then of course you can get it, but then mean to mean, it looks like little confusing, because R also have their own inbuilt function called mean.
Got it. Thank you.
And one thing, if you want to get any help, you just write question mark before the command and then hit run. And now you see that you got help window. Everyone can run this one. Just write question mark before the command and then hit the enter, or then run or execute the command. Then you see that the help window is popping up here on the bottom right.
Excuse me, doctor. Doctor, there's a request from Ala El Badawi. I think like mic is not working, so she's asking to explain the note in line 65. Yeah, to explain the that.
So basically what we are doing here, that in this case, we are mixing a variable like with number and with characters. So there are some rules here. What are the rules? that when you want to write a name or, for example, a character, then it has to be within the inverted comma. But when you want to write a number, the number doesn't has to be in the inverted comma. Right here, it's Bob. So we started the inverted comma and we finished the inverted comma. Like with Sue and John, we started inverted comma and finished the inverted comma. But when I want to write a number, then I don't have to add this comma. This inverted comma, I mean.
But why do you mix numbers and strings? Like if if it's data
Again,
points.
it depends on type of your data. It's just the way I just wanted to show, like, okay, you can have like a multiple thing within the one variable as well. Again, it's just a type of data someone may have.
Okay.
Okay, how many of you have finished the script number 2? Just raise their hand, those who have finished script number 2, or those who are about to finish the script number 2. Raise their hand.
About to, doctor, but can I get the clarification of 172 line number?
172.
This options.
Okay. Again, I mean, this is something related to changing the function within the R. So for example, here we have different notations, scientific notations, right? For example, if I want to show 10 raised to power 8, so this is the way how you can show that, like 10 raised to power 8. Likewise, if I want to show 10 raised to power minus 8, this is the way how we can do. And then you can actually say some setting to the R that, I mean, how should I explain this one? That sometime, you know, when you run R, for the same command, you get a different option. So you can create a multiple string saying that, okay, this function is like running with the same type of command. Again, it's hard to say at the moment.
Okay, we can leave it for yet.
No, I mean, I forgot the keyword for that actually. Just a moment, I just write down, help myself.
We can add question mark before it to check.
Yes, that's what I'm trying as well. No, it is not working with Cyphon. It's basically option where we should add the question mark. So basically, sometimes we have to set a global option throughout the R that when it is working with same number of iteration cycles and so on. So in that case, we can change this notation saying that, okay, this Cyphon 100. So always this will work with this particular value.
Okay.
Again, this is more related to the base setting of the R. For example, I'm running a function, okay? And I got some two-dimensional table out of that function. For example, I calculated Bray-Curtis matrix, right? It's Teman, right? Teman is
yes,
there?
Yes, doctor.
That you are from mathematics field, right? So, for example, you are calculating a matrix, data matrix, two-dimensional matrix, right? And then you see that it's a big data matrix. And then again, you run the same data matrix with the same function, but this time you get a slightly different result. Because if you don't set how many cycle or how many run you want, then you get a different result at the end. That's why sometimes we set this number in before end, especially when you want to run some multiple iteration cycle, then you want to set it in advance so that you don't get a different answer each time.
Okay, like just to minimize the error or difference or variation.
Differences, yeah, if there is any differences or error in the calculation, so you won't get a different results at the end. even if you are repeating the same script again.
Okay. Thank you. Got it.
Okay, should I share the third script with all of you? Or you all are tired? Or how is the thing? No answer?
Still on.
About to finish it, doctor, so you can give us 2 more minutes.
Yes, what about others? You have been communicating with me, Taiman, but what about others? There are few people who
I
are...
have finished, Doctor.
Okay, I'm going to share the third script right now. And those of you who manage, definitely try. And then if not, of course, you can work with this third script even after that.
Doctor, there's a question from a student.
Yes.
Is there any option to delete the code if we get any error?
Yes, you just like, for example, I select this one and I just put enter, it's deleted.
Okay, doctor.
You just use the backspace or delete button, whatever, it will delete the code. Anyone who have a question, they can directly ask me, or of course, if you have any issue with your microphone, then of course you can post it via chat, since I'm not able to see the chat box because I already have a lot of windows open at the moment. Okay, those of you who finished with the script number 2, okay, again, if you didn't manage to finish script number 2, just continue, don't worry, script number 3 will be there. And if I will see that many of you still didn't manage to finish 2, we will continue with 3 even in the next week. But those of you who finished with script number 2, I would suggest them to start with script number 3. Again, script number 3 is little longer and little more complicated.
Doctor, I have one question.
Yes, Dino.
Yeah. Doctor, as you have told, we use SkyPen in the command. So it is, and you explained like for the same script, sometimes we may get a different results with slight errors.
Not for the script, not for the script.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes some function run with the multiple iteration cycle.
Oh, iterations. Okay, fine.
Yeah, for example, they do some randomization. Okay, and during the randomization, if you have those kind of multiple random cycle, then each time you do this randomization, you might get a different result.
Okay.
That's why we just set an option so that we always get the same result.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you, doctor.
Sometimes you might find in some script says set.seed. That is also something similar command like set.seed, in which we want to set the seed first of all before the start of the script.
Okay.
Line 13 in script third, the result shows something as the data.
Line
number 13.
Yes, I'm just executing.
Okay.
Yes, what is?
In the environment, there is like data 3 observations of 4 variables.
Yeah.
The 3 observations are like integer, character, and numerical.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
So the first is ID, second is age, third is sex, and fourth is group. And now what we are doing, we are trying to make a data frame for all these different 4 variable. And now we just set a command called data.frame, and in the bracket we mention what kind of variable we want to make a frame. The frame for ID, age, sex, and group. And now we are importing these data into another variable called DAT.
Okay.
Is it clear, Teman?
Yes, so you get a different window for this data, like having the ID, age, when you run like the next command.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I like why you get a different data. I mean, you don't have 4 variable in your data.
Yes, I mean, if you execute like line 14, can you please
Yes.
do that?
Yeah, I did that just now.
Okay, so that's what I was asking. Like, it presets itself like with age, the group, and other things.
Yeah, so basically you have to relate. So the ID number 1 is having 25-year age. It's a male and it's group in the T. ID number 2 having 21-year age. He is a male and in the group C. ID number 3 having age 30. It's a female and in the group T.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. It's only Teman who have a question. I'm not hearing anything from other. What about other?
Doctor, it's with the data frame that you were able to do this table. Without it, it will not link the numbers and age and gender.
Can you repeat again, Ali?
I mean, you use the command data frame, right?
Yes.
This allowed you to make the table on the console.
Exactly. So the data frame is actually the function or command, as you said. So I write data.frame and then small bracket started, and then you can put any number of variable you have. For example, I can create a one more variable called X, and then I can add even here. So you can add any number of variable in this small bracket, and then you can direct these data set or these variable into another object called DAT. And then now DAT is the DAT is the data frame where you have all these tables stored.
I see. It's clear. Thank you.
It's only Dino and Teman and Amal. What about others? There are many others. I haven't heard any voice there. Fatima, Usman, are you
Sir,
there?
we are still on the second script. That's why, sir.
No, it's fine.
I mean,
Take your time. Even if you are on second script, take your time. Okay.
Thank
but
you,
I'm
sir.
just thinking that why I'm not getting response from other people.
Okay, sir.
Take your time. It's we are not in rush. We have good amount of time.
Thank you so much, sir.
Usman, are you there? Riaz?
Yes, doctor, it's working.
It's working. Where are you now? In which script you are?
In the second.
Okay, okay. Because I haven't heard any question from you or any comments from you. That's why I'm just checking. Are you there or not? Perfect. So continue with your script number 2 or 3, wherever you are. And before you leave the session, of course, let me know where you all are so that I'm aware, so that I can prepare myself accordingly for the next session.
Doctor, for script number 3, where can we find it? I can't find it in the email.
I just shared a new email with all of you. So you have to check your email. I just shared the new email with all of you. There you will find script number 3.
Okay, I will look for it.
Always, you know how you do, you make a folder, maybe r_workshop and so on. You make a folder and you store your script within the same folder, and then you can just right click on the script and you can start it with your RStudio window.
Doctor, can you please tell the difference between 66, 71, and 78? Like how they are changing? Am I audible?
Doctor, are you there? We can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, I just took a minute break, that's why. Okay, yes, what was the question?
The difference between lines 66, 71, and 78, how do they change?
66.
Yeah, and then 71 and 78.
Yes, that's very important. Good that you raised this. So maybe for a while, everyone can pay attention here. It's very important line actually. Something you're gonna to encounter in most of the script. So what happened if I just press date and I just hit the run? I see the table. Then I just mention DAT, and now I'm using a big bracket. I don't know, is there another way how you pronounce it, but big bracket I could say. So so then if you press this one, so what you are doing, anyone can guess? Everyone just pay attention for a while. It's very interesting to know about. Can you think
Yes,
over?
I think we are specifying columns and rows in that.
So the number one is the number one is
It's 8.
it's raw. Okay.
Yeah, it's row and number 2 is column.
Number 2 is column. So we are saying that within this data frame, that is DAT, select a value which represent column number 1, sorry, row number 1 and column number 2. And then if you hit this, then you get the answer 25. And now check in your table here. So that's a 25. So basically somehow if you look onto this line number 77, that was your question, Teman?
Yes.
So everything, okay, now if first I press it. So I got some option called 25, 21, and 30. So the way to represent a row is comma and then the number of row. That's the way how do we represent the row. But if I want to represent the column, or if I want to show the column, then I just write DAT in the line number 78 and then column number 2. So then I show the column. For example, if I want, I can just say, okay, transfer this column data into ZZZ. It's getting error. So no, it's not possible. Yes. You got my point now? That in this way you can visualize the data from a particular column. I can say instead of true, I can say, okay, column number 3, then it will show me the data from column number 3. But if I will write comma and then I will write a number, that will represent your row. For example, here if I say 2, then it is showing me the data from the row number 2. If I change it to 3, it will show me the data from row number 3. Was this your question, Teman?
Yes, Doctor. Clear. Thank you.
So this is basically a subsetting of your data. Many times, you have hundreds of row, hundreds of column, but in some particular analysis, you need to select only one particular column and one particular row. For example, you have temperature, moisture, pH, salt, or whatever, many different variable. But for correlation, you just want to use 2 variables, that is temperature and pH. So within the table, you can make this kind of subsetting, saying that, okay, now I want to transfer this column data into another object and this raw data into another object. And then you can do your further analysis. So one more time, who was there? The Teman, one more time, and others. For example, you can transfer this data into another variable called ZZ, and now I can reuse ZZ like this. And this is what you're going to use multiple time in your analysis. How many of you are still in script number 2? Just raise their hand if you are still on script number 2. Who are on script number 2? 1, Swat. Who else? Only one person? So it seems only one person is on script number 2. Suat, can you turn on your microphone?
Yes.
So you are in script number 2 right now?
Yeah, almost. I'll almost finish.
Okay. So
Me too, sir.
Okay.
Script 2.
Okay. So 2 people are on script number 2. Don't worry. You just go with your pace. You don't need to be faster. Even if we finish the session, you go with your pace. And even if you have any question with script number 3, you can write me question as well. I will try to answer by email as well. Okay. But rest of all, I think they are good with script number 3 as well. So complete the script number 3. And if you have any question, write it down. Next week, we are going, not next week, next session, we are going to discuss the question related to the script number 3. So any question, if you don't understand, we will discuss that during the next session. Okay. So just go with your speed. Don't need to rush at the moment. Okay, I hope now everyone is able to follow the script. I try to make them quite self-explanatory, and I hope I manage a little bit that you can understand by yourself. So just before we stop, was this too fast, or is it okay, or should we go a little slower in the next session? How do you think now, Amal?
A little slower will be better, doctor.
Little slower will be better. Okay, so next time I'm going to share only one script at a time so that I know that everyone is finishing on time, and then I will share another script.
This is better, sir.
Okay, so I will just share one script at a time, and then I will share a second script thereafter so that everyone is with the same flow. But since today I know it's mostly a very basic thing, but next session we're going to have really complex scripting where you're going to do a lot of data manipulation, data extraction from your table, and then data plotting and so on. So maybe we'll go a little slower so that everyone can easily follow the script. Again, once you finish this today's session, take a break and again try to revise this script by yourself and try to understand the concept. Okay, again I'm saying it's not about just executing and finishing the script. As I mentioned, you can select the whole script together and you can finish all the script within 5 seconds, but that is not what my aim is. My aim is that you should critically understand why you are writing that syntax in that way. For example, if there is an arrow, so why this, what this arrow means, why you have arrow on this direction, what does it mean? So you should critically understand each and every step of scripting. Okay, so don't think that, okay, I just can finish the script. Everyone can finish the script within 5 seconds, I'm sure. You just select all the script by yourself and press run, it will finish. Again, go through whole script by yourself during this week whenever you have a time, and try to understand each and every component. Like whenever a line is written, why this line is written in that way, why not in another way? So once you will try to create this kind of question, then scripting will be very easy for all of you. And as I said, there is hundreds of websites available. They can help you to learn more about R. Even I'm also very much beginner to the R, but again, I always take help from these websites. They are there, they help me, and I just try to develop myself. Any other question now? Seems quite silence from everyone. Maybe everyone is a little tired already because it's almost 2 hours we are here.
In the chat box, doctor, they are saying like no questions.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Doctor, may I propose something?
Yeah.
You don't mind?
Yes,
Doctor, by next week on Sunday, actually, I have a class at this time. Most probably I have a test. So is it possible to shift it to 1 hour yani, at 4 start?
Unfortunately, no. Time cannot be changed because of my own commitment and many other things. Because many students will also have some other issues. So this time was set based on my own commitment as well.
Okay, thank you.
I also have a class until 4:30 and so on, so I cannot do other changes.
Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you.
But it's no problem. I can share script as I did today. You can
Yeah.
yourself, and in case you end up in any of the issue, any of the problem, you can write me as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, and
doctor, before leaving, I have a quick question, please, if you can answer.
Yes.
Like if you are running any line, how can I know that which line number it is, if in case I lost the track?
I have the same line number.
No, I mean, if I'm executing on console, I'm seeing the output.
Okay, just a moment. Where are you saying? So you are running in the console.
No, I mean on console, I can see the output, but just I forgot that which line number it was in the
Okay.
source
No,
that I was executing.
That you have to just check. You have to read the syntax and you have to, Control C and Control F. I think Control C and Control F also work in the R.
Okay.
So you just Control C and Control F, and then you will end up in the same line.
Okay.
Control C and Control F and Control V are always our friend in the computer. So they work in all the platform.
Okay, thank you so much.
Again, don't forget to provide the feedback to the workshop. It's very important for us to know your view about the workshop. So it will help us in more developing the workshop in future. And hopefully, of course, this is a start for me in this university for giving this a basic R workshop. And then soon, maybe during the summer, as I'm discussing with CGS, maybe we'll do some more intensive workshop. So that will be like completely throughout the week, and it will be more advanced and more intensive and so on. We are planning on that, and we'll see what kind of workshop we can develop in future. But then today we're gonna to stop here since our time is running now, and we will meet again on next session. That is on Thursday, I believe. I'm just cross-checking. I'm just. Yep.
I think it's on Wednesday.
It is on Wednesday.
17th Wednesday, doctor.
So that's the 17th Wednesday, not Thursday. Sorry, it's a Wednesday, 17th of February at the same time. So again, we're gonna to do the similar way. I'm gonna to share the script, and I'm also going to use this same Word file which I shared today. So always keep following, follow these links and so on. And one more thing you all have to do. You know that you have this shared Excel file. Okay, I'm just going through this shared Excel file. And I just added 2 more things which I want answer from you. Script 1, script 2, script 3. So you just give your response whether you have completed these 3 scripts or not. Okay, so this is the shared Excel file link. And whenever you have time, and again, this link is already been shared with you since my first email. And then you can just give your response if you have finished with your script number 1, 2, and 3. So this will also give me idea at which step all of you are at the moment.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, then. So it was very nice to have interaction with all of you for this hour. Hopefully, I try to convey some of my message, and I managed to give you some indication that how does this hour work, and how we should start, and how we should start playing with the hour. And next week we are going to do some more intensive training. Not next week, sorry. This Wednesday we are going to do some more intensive training on hour. And hopefully then we'll get to learn something more. And by that time, have a very good day. Not good day now, at least it's evening for me. Maybe some of you are even abroad. I don't know. Maybe some are still abroad, I believe. So have a very good time, and see you all on next session.
Okay, thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
It was so helpful, and I guess the students also enjoyed, and they learned a lot from this. And doctor, yeah, I have a small reminder for the students, participants, like actually they have to fill the feedback form after the 3rd session. But anyway, I will today also I will put the link on the chat. So once it is done, they can fill the feedback form, and it's very useful to us. And please keep in your mind to fill the feedback form. And also there's a small reminder, like doctor, it is better if they can join sharp at the time, right, doctor? Because
Yes.
to save the time.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah,
If you
another point that all of you who took part in the first session, you should definitely join the second session as well, in case if you don't have any emergency, as one gave her example. But other than that, I'm expecting that all of you are following all the 3 sessions. As I mentioned, we have a long waiting list, and we just screened the first 30 applicants. We have still 120 applicants. They are sending a lot of email to me, to Metha, and also to Luna, but we are not selecting them because we don't have a space at the moment. So make sure that all of you make use of this workshop, and also join on the session number 2 and session number 3, which are little more advanced compared to what we discussed today.
Okay, doctor. Thank you so much, doctor, for sparing your time on this. And so we'll see you on Wednesday, doctor.
Okay, thank you, everyone. See you all on Wednesday at 5 p.m.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Thank you,